is Weird Corvid, and we're doing one print for the dark moon in Sagittarius or the new moon in Sagittarius, either or, take your pick of the term. Oh, and if you happen to hear tip tapping around or the shake of a jingle of a collar, my dog wandering around, she's old, just wanting to wander tonight. So the first thing I notice is the other prints were talking about a bottleneck. There's no real bottleneck in this blob of dye either this time around. Everything seems to be moving very fluidly. There is more clutter, I suppose you call it, at the bottom or the southern half of the paper, but overall it seems to be moving very fluidly. The blockage, the bottleneck does not seem to be there at all anymore, and there's definitely the lines on there that remind me of flow, but more like water than the last print. I think it reminded wind going over sand. This is more fluid and calm and just more flow. One of the first images though that pops to mind, or that I notice, is near the top of the blob of ink under the end for north. There's a little knife that's pointing up directly up to the north, and I'm wondering if we were talking about words and needing to be said, or ideas needing to be put out into the real world, the material world, and if this knife is maybe just those words cutting through all the obstacles that were in the way, or just getting to the point. And then just off to the side of that little knife, right under there's this image that sort of, when I look directly at it, it looks like an ink cap mushroom. But when I catch it out of the corner of my eye, it almost looks like the side profile of a skull. Which makes me think, when I think of like the skull, possibly I think of like mind, and then the mushrooms, I automatically think of like a mushroom trip. But I don't think ink caps are specifically used for that. I don't think ink caps are psychedelics as far as I know. I have a few farm animals around, and the ink caps happen a lot in the winter or fall time when mushrooms are doing their thing. And ink caps specifically will come out of things like hay or like grass clippings, but also like herbivore poop. And so the ink cap is taking that waste material and turning it into new life. Mushrooms I think most people know at this point, the mushrooms are very good at pulling nutrients out of dead material or rotting material. There's even some that will grow out of plastic and use plastic waste. I think there's even some that they're using on nuclear waste, if I'm not mistaken. Also, there are mushroom caskets of sorts, or shrouds, that you can put on a dead body, and then the mushrooms will decompose that body. It's a much more environmentally friendly way to put a body to rest, as far as I am aware of. And this is specifically sort of in the northwest corner, so the material world, a little bit of emotions with the west influences there. So I'm wondering if we are taking things that we thought were like dead and gone ideas or feelings, and since it's in more the material outer world north area, maybe that's more relationships with other people that we thought were dead and gone, or wasteful habits, or things that don't serve us anymore that we just thought were like over with, and we're now finding a way to use those things to create something new. We're building from those things, which is actually kind of interesting, because right next to that, the card that's next to that area, is the skull of flowers from the Halloween Oracle, and that skull of flowers definitely has sort of like a phoenix energy to it. It says creating through the ashes, so yeah. So since we're there, we might as well read from the book the little blurb that it has about the Skull of Flowers. The Skull of Flowers illustrates that there is a sureness and yet a rawness to creating again, to starting afresh. Sometimes the universe gives us a blank slate to work from, so we can build what we really want, rather than just settling for less. The Skull of Flowers celebrates not just a kind of phoenix energy, but an energy of success and full bloom through adversity. So yeah, I think that the ink cap mushroom really goes along with that card pretty well. It's interesting though, that knife there. I'm guessing the knife is representing like getting to the point, or cutting through the BS, or the obstacle. Maybe with it being so close to the mushroom, it's meant to harvest whatever those energies are that you're creating again, and it's time to harvest that creation. Maybe. But the sharp edge of the blade is pointing away from the mushroom, and the tip of the blade is pointing directly to the north. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. It's not cutting through any of like the sort of currents or streams of water, the very flowy ethereal lines. It's not really cutting through any of that. So it's going with the flow. It's not going against the flow. But since we're doing cards, let's do the next past influence card, which is the dragon, number 2, and it says be patient. We got this card in the last sun print, but it was in the current influences side, and now it's in the past influences side. So if there's any continuation, maybe, or maybe it's just this own reading, but it's interesting that it was in the current influence side on the last sun print, and now it's in the past influence side for this sun print. The blurb for this card is, now is not the time to act. Now is the time to show self-restraint, to be patient and wait. Do not let your desire for an outcome or resolution result in one that is not to your liking, because you forced it to manifest before it was time. Trust that all will be as it is meant to be when it is meant. Be still, let go of all frustrations and impatience, and remember that good things come to those who wait. And that leads me to jump into the current influences for this sun print, because the other card directly on the other side from that one, the other messenger oracle card, is Know Your Power, and it's a fiery horse. That's all about movement to me. So we're going to read that little blurb now for the current influences. You have a choice in all things. Your power is born of that freedom to choose, but with that freedom comes the burden of responsibility. To know your power, you must accept responsibility for your part in all you experience, even when you allow another to impose their choice or will upon you. You have the power to choose if you wear a saddle or a bridle, or if another will ride upon your back. Own your power, know it, and see it in all of your choices and actions. So basically it's saying whatever your choice is here, whatever you're doing, own it. For better or worse, own it, and accept whatever good or bad consequences come along with it. And I would even say in this instance, even if there are some negative influences that come along with it, they're still not really negative, because I'm assuming we've been talking about authenticity all along and all the rest of it, that this is what you want to be doing and this is what you should be doing. You should have hopefully done the introspective already when you were being patient and all the rest of it, to know what it is you want to do, why it is you want to do it. Hopefully it is authentic to you, and if that is the case, then good or bad that comes with it is still the right momentum, is still the right way to go. Before I go any further, I might as well read the last card, which is from the Halloween Oracle. It is Scrying, and that says intuition. I tend to find in readings this card is almost like a tap out card from the deck. It's when the deck doesn't want to go any further, and it's saying to just trust your intuition instead of asking for more and more and more. It might not mean this in this case. Usually when I'm doing readings for myself, that's how I interpret it, because I feel like I'm already doing that by pulling out the card. But in this case, if I'm reading for somebody else, it might mean for them to follow their own intuition. It might mean if you want more details about current influences or directions to go with regarding anything you pick up from this sun print or during this time period that you're focused on, you may have to look inward again, like we were just talking about with the Know Your Power card, is to really look inward and make sure that you want what you want, and maybe even do your own scrying or card pulling, really checking in with your inner self and possibly your guides as well. Whatever practice you do to get in touch with your spiritual self and your intuition, that's what you should be doing, right? It definitely seems like we're moving forward. The Patience card is in the past influences. The Phoenix card, or the Skull of Flowers card, is also in the past influences. We should be either at or past the point of rising out of whatever funk or whatever loss or whatever things we had to put to rest. And it is a new moon, so it's a good time to let things fall away at this time. So I think we're coming out of that, and we are actively growing from that in this time period. I find the connection with the mushroom image in the picture very poignant, and plus the mushroom issue also has that side profile when I look at it out of the corner of my eye of the skull, and there's the Skull of Flowers right there. So I think there's definitely a strong connection there, and that mushroom is already growing, and those ink cap mushrooms don't last that long once they are after they've fruited and come out of the ground. The other thing is that mushrooms, a lot of most plants, a good chunk of their body is actually their whole root system. And with mushrooms, whatever comes out of the ground, what we associate the basic shape of a mushroom is the fruit of that plant. I guess they're not they're like kind of their own thing. They're not technically a plant, but they're kind of a plant. They're a fungus. They're kind of their own little genome or something like that, I think. But nonetheless, the mushroom itself is referred to as the fruit, the part that comes out of the ground. So it's ready to go. I've been saying that for the last reading or two, and it was telling you to hold out for the right opportunities, the right times. Now I think it's asking you to own it, which means, again, checking in with yourself, checking in with your intuition to know when to say what you need to say, or do what you need to do, or create what you need to create. But it's at the time of owning it, and letting anything else that is not falling in line with what you want, let it go for the time being, and to focus on what it is you want and really own it, which sounds really like forceful, but this print in general is not forceful. It's very in the flow. It's very in the moment. It has a little bit of an it feels very balanced because it has a groundedness to it, but a very sort of like ethereal flowiness to it as well. Everything seems to be in a gentle flow, a gentle movement. Nothing seems to be stuck. So it's definitely a good time to do that creating, to put things into motion. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in a big bang type of way. It could be in just a very gentle, soft flowing, but steady flow of whatever it is you're doing, whether it's talking or creating or just habits or whatever it is that you're implementing. As long as it's authentic and it feels right, then own it. Own all you do with it. It seems like it's a very quick reading, but it just, again, it flowed from image to image to card, and that definitely is sort of the energy of this print that's it's giving off. The only other thing that I can see in here that might be a part of it is I can distinctly see some vertebrae bones with backbone. So have you grown a backbone lately to do whatever it is that you need to do? I think the backbone idea definitely ties into the know your own power card as well. Own your own power, whatever it is that you're putting into the world right now. Yeah, it's a good time to own it. And whether or not other people agree with it, as long as it's in line with your intuition and your authenticity, go for it. Just make sure you own it. Don't put it off to other things or other influences. It's yours. Whatever it is, it's yours. Better or worse, it is yours. So take all the credit, but also take all the criticism. And don't let the criticism sway you, because this is what you should be doing. If you've taken the time to really get in touch with your intuition and you know this is right for you, then go for it. If it's just that little bit of fear of, oh no, what if, that's normal, and you can put that aside and address it once you prove to yourself that you can do it. The best way to work through that is by proving to yourself. Sometimes we have to earn our own trust, but if it's like a pit in your stomach that you feel a little bit off about, that could be part of your intuition. You need to know yourself well enough, and this is something that everybody throughout their whole lifetime and every stage of their life has to sort of re-sort out the difference between just that imposter syndrome type of fear and like a gut feeling that something's a little off or not the right time. Timing has been an issue with some cards pulled in other prints, but not so much this one. So I think we're at the point where it is time. And I said that in the other one, and then it gave the be patient. So it was time, but like pick your time, be careful about it. Now maybe you've already picked that time and it is time to own it. If somebody didn't like it, too bad. Own it. If somebody really liked it, whatever it is, something you said, a creation, a habit, whatever, don't shy away from taking a compliment for it. And whichever way it goes, own it. Yeah, I think that's the end of this one for tonight. I hope you have a good dark moon, and I think the holidays are coming up soon for people, so I hope you have good holidays. And if you resonated with anything I said, if you resonated with any images in the print and the card, let me know. Leave a message. I would love to hear about that. And if you didn't resonate with anything I said, if you have a completely different interpretation of this print and the cards that go with it, or just the print itself, you see something completely different in the imagery of the abstract print, then I would love to hear that too. I would love to hear different ideas and different things that people are picking up from them, because everybody's going to have a slightly different experience. Whether you view this just as abstract art, everybody's going to pick out something different in it. Whether you view this as divination in some way, everybody's going to pick out something a little bit different from it. So I would love to hear any of those different interpretations or different things that you pick up from it as individuals. That would be very interesting to me to read comment. So yes, have a good night, day, wherever you're at. Bye.